Manchester United supporters when we broke that news a few hours ago. Why? Because he's a fantastic goalkeeper, a Champions League winner, a really, really impressive goalkeeper. Would he elevate Manchester United? You'd probably say yes. It's not gone really well for Andre Onana over the last couple of years. Now, why are Manchester United interested? Well, Donnarumma's entered the final year of his contract, but PSG are also close to signing a new keeper, Lille's Lucas Chevalier. But there is talk that he might want to stay and actually fight for that #1 spot. So there's no guarantees he'll be going to Manchester United. It is interest just for now, but very, very well, we find it very interesting when that came through the
league. And sometimes it was really hard and with some injuries. It was tough on everybody. But I don't like to use an excuse. We didn't do our job last year. We have to do it in this year. So I think the idea is going to improve.
2 new arrivals to help with the idea, Brian and Mateus. How important was character as well as ability in their signings?
Is a key point in our way to do things now. It's not just how they play. It's really important how they play, of course, because that is the job. But the character is really important, and we took a lot of time to know the players, to talk with everybody before we bring some player to our group, and that is going to be like a rule, and is going to be massive in our decision when we bring a player.
You mentioned to us the other day, chatting, players need a spirit to play at Old Trafford, and the Old Trafford crowd needs players with spirit to be excited by games.
I think sometimes we have to look the past. What was the reasons for all the success? Of course, the football changed, the world changed, but there are some things that we can get from that, and I think that is the spirit of the players. And when I'm going to Old Trafford and we show a good performance like we did against, for example, Real Sociedad.
Yeah, I think that's a good insight, isn't it, James? Will we see any more departures then from Old Trafford anytime soon? They've got players they want to get off their books.
Yeah, I thought it was fascinating hearing from Luke Shaw there. I think he was talking about stragglers in terms of a mentality shift rather than pointing out the players who are not there right now with United on this pre-season tour, because we know there's 4 players who are training away from the first team, aren't there in the US right now. Alejandro Garnacho, Anthony, Jadon Sancho and Tyrell Malacia. Ruben Amorim suggested last week that none of the players would be sold for a cut price fee and they would be reintegrated if they're not sold. I'm not so sure that's the case. Maybe that was a negotiating strategy from Amorim. I think Garnacho is absolutely key here, because any money United make on Garnacho in this transfer window will represent pure profit, which will give them a huge amount more flexibility in this transfer window. Now, Aston Villa, they've been keen on him, but are understood to be unable to meet the asking price to buy him outright at this moment in time. Chelsea still maintaining an interest, despite the fact they signed Jamie Gittins earlier on this summer, but it remains to be seen if they act upon that. Borussia Dortmund are interested in re-signing Jadon Sancho once again. This would be the 3rd time they've signed him, but I think wages are going to be an issue here. Juventus have also held talks. Napoli may now revisit the chance to sign Jadon Sancho, having missed out on their first choice wide option. He's heading to Nottingham Forest.
Mbeumo. Cunha was done really early in the window. Then the focus was purely on Brian Mbeumo, regardless of any other players that they were interested in. The focus now, I have to reiterate from Manchester United's perspective, is player sales. They want to generate some money so that they maybe can go again in this transfer market. But we have been saying throughout this window that they are in the market for a striker. They are in the market for a number 9, and that's regardless of what happens with Rasmus Højlund, because there has been a bit of talk about Italian clubs interested in Rasmus Højlund. But whether he stays or goes, I think Manchester United would want to strengthen in that position. We've been told that initial talks have taken place with Aston Villa over Ollie Watkins, but that's been met with a not for